Good morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, we're going to be talking some more about the fixed index part. Now we'll break it down. So I mentioned about the benefits of a fixed index, some of the differences between an immediate annuity, a fixed annuity, and now we're going to talk about a fixed index annuity. This is where you get all those same guarantees, right, with the fixed annuity. The difference being that it's tied to an index, all right, and based on the performance of that index, what type of return you're going to get. So here's an example where you may have caps. Now, I personally try to avoid anything with caps. And the reason is, if you look here on a cap, it's 5%. So the index, if it goes up 8, you're going to get 5. If it goes up 5%, you would get that 5. If it only goes up 4, you get 4, 3, so on, right? But as you can see, if it goes up 8%, 10%, 12%, I'm still only going to get 5. Now, if 5 is the best I can do, and 0, as you can see, right, on the cap, it's at 5. If the index had negative performance, I would just get a 0. I don't lose any money. But the problem is, my best bet is I got 0 to 5 is my range, which means my average is probably going to be around 2.5 to 3. So that being the case, now I might as well, if I'm going to have caps, I might be better off just with a shorter term than than index annuities would provide, a shorter term guarantee with a multi-year guarantee fixed annuity. So something to consider there. That's why I say caps, not so good. And sometimes within a product, you can have an index with a cap and you can have an index without a cap. So this is another thing. If you're not sure about what you have and you'd like to know more about what you have, you can call my office and we can help you with that type of thing, okay? We can schedule a phone appointment or we can meet in person, whichever you prefer. Understanding this when it comes to annuity, they are complex. So sometimes we'll even call the companies and walk through some things with you so that you can see, hear directly from them some of the nuances that may be within that contract and some of the benefits that you may or may not even be fully taking advantage of. So again, if you'd like some help with that, call my office, 615-376-5325. All right, now, fixed index annuities, participation rate. This is another key part. So let's say it does not have caps, and now we're going to get a performance. Is in this example, they're saying 10% index performance there on the left, and that the participation rate is 80% in the middle. So 80% of 10, I'm going to get 8%. So basically, if that market index goes up 10, I get 8 in this scenario. Now, what if the market only goes up 5%? 80% participation, right? Well, now I'm going to get 4%. 80% of 5. And here's the kicker on the participation rate, and I don't know why they changed it, but basically index performance, -5, whatever your participation rate, whether it's 50 or 80 or whatever it might be, doesn't matter, you're going to get a 0. So when there's a negative performance in the index, you get 0, and that's one of the advantages. That's what we're talking about as far as being able to protect your principal in a down market while seeking additional growth tied to an index. Now, the next one is what are called the fees. Okay, now here in this next slide, we're combining a few different things. So I'm going to walk you through it line by line. So to the left, you have the index performance, let's say, is 12%. So if that market index goes up 12 and you have a 75 participation rate, you're going to earn 9, right? 75% of 12% is 9%. Now, if there's a fee in addition to that participation rate of, let's say, 2%, then my earnings after the fee is deducted is 7. So in this situation, with that type of contract, if the market goes up 12, you would get 7. Here's some of the things to understand, too. Sometimes market participation, okay, can actually be in excess of 100%. Some products even have participation rates that you can have either no fee and have a lower participation rate, or you can have a fee with a higher participation rate. And again, you want to weigh I do this all the time with clients, is helping them weigh which, in different returns, what that might look like for them. And we'll run illustrations to show how that would perform over, say, 10 years' time, how it would have done, or 15 or 20. And we have illustrations we can share with you on that. In addition, when you're looking at index performance, if we go now that second line, middle line, if you will, if the index is up 5 and you got an 80% participation, right? 80% of 5 is 4, 2% fee, and you only get 2 out of 5. This is why when we talk about products, we want uncapped so that we don't have the cap even reducing it further. And we ideally want either 0 fees, or if we're going to pay a fee, it's because we want a greater participation rate to give us more earnings even after the fee. So either way, it's important to understand how these work and that we match up the right one. And again, on the bottom line there, negative performance, no matter whatever your participation rate or fee might be, you're still 0. Okay, so worst case is 0. And then your earnings can also, the way that this works with index annuities, they have different terms, if you will. So for instance, you can have a renewal set every 2 years. Some of them are annual renew, meaning that whatever the index does over the course from one year to the next, right, over the course of a year, you're going to be factoring your added interest from that participation into your contract each year. Some, it's a 2-year return. So it basically goes into a 2-year term, and your crediting doesn't occur until the end of the second year. And every 2 years, it locks in those gains, and that becomes your new minimum in the contract. You can also get 3-year terms. So there are a variety of different ones out there. This is one of the areas when you get into the complexities of annuities, right? They're complex, but just like a car, if you think about it, a car engine is complex. I don't need to know how to rebuild the engine to drive the car. Matching up, making sure that the features and the benefits, that you understand them and the inner workings, and asking the right questions, which I hope this helps you do, will help you then get to the right product, or to even determine whether an annuity is right for you at all. Okay, again, if you'd like help, maybe you've got annuities currently and you're not sure. Maybe you've thought about it and you're thinking, well, I don't know, would it really be a good idea? And maybe you've heard bad things even about annuities. Variable annuities have been in the news a number of times because of the higher fees that go with those. You can see fees on variables of 3 to 5% as an example. So if you're going to invest in the market and take that kind of market risk, you want to keep your costs low. That's a good general advice for anyone, is understanding cost is maybe not the most important thing when it comes to investing, but is certainly a consideration, and an important consideration. So when you can invest in funds that maybe, depending, I think one piece in here was citing on mutual funds, for instance, of fees of anywhere from under 1% to 1.5%, depending on the type of mutual fund. Index funds typically are much lower than that. But this is, again, you're always looking at what are my costs when it comes to investing, as well as what I'm looking to get. And this is the other, do you know what the needed rate of return on your overall retirement plan might be? How much do I need to make on my money to make sure I never run out of money, make sure I've got enough for not only essential expenses, but also for the discretionary expenses, for the fund money, as we talk about, right? So this is when, when you're retiring and every day is a weekend, you've got all this free time. When do you spend most money, right? It's on the weekend. That's when we do our leisure activities typically, if we're going to, or on vacation when we're traveling or doing other things. So that's when we're going to spend the most money. Therefore, we need to be thinking when we retire. Sometimes there's a misconception that your income is going to go down or your income needs are going to go down, when in reality your expenses typically go up. You need more income, especially early in retirement, when you've got that free time, when you're hitting those leisure activities, when you're maybe checking off that bucket list of things that you've always wanted to do and now can't have the time and hopefully resources to do it. That's what good planning and enjoying that retirement lifetime or lifestyle is all about. With variable annuities, this is one of those areas, again, there's a lot of different riders, there's a lot of different tools that come to play, income riders, death benefit or legacy riders, understanding what your overall goals are and how this annuity might meet them are a key part. And these optional features, additional costs come with those. This is one of the things to understand as well. When you're looking at riders in particular, so if I've got a variable annuity, one of the things that can drive up fees, and this can happen on other annuities as well, is if I add a lot of riders. And so don't be adding things in that you don't necessarily need, and make sure, again, that it matches up with your needs. All right, quick break. Join us here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.